Our human bodies are such an amazing piece of design and work, so it's no surprise that we like talking about it so much that it has crept into our day-to-day language. Here are the top 10 human body associated sayings and phrases. Number 10. Okay, it's that moment before a big meeting, date, or that risky email, and suddenly your stomach feels like a butterfly sanctuary. In other words, we could say we have butterflies in our stomach. The phrase emerged from the earlier 20th century, which describes the physical sensation of nervousness when blood flow shifts away from digestion during stress. The fluttering feeling mimics that light and erratic movement of butterflies, making it an intuitive metaphor for anxiety. And not a lot's changed over the years. In fact, we still get nervous and excited just before a presentation, performance, or even a first date, just like butterflies in the stomach. Number 9. Now we've all done it, ignoring that one unread email or that thing on our to-do list that's been haunting us for days. We have turned a blind eye. The phrase turn a blind eye has been linked to Admiral Horatio Nelson, who reportedly ignored a signal to retreat by putting his telescope to his blind eye during a naval battle. Whether embellished or not, the story has struck a symbol of deliberate ignorance. Today, we may turn a blind eye if we choose to ignore something that you know is wrong, like overlooking that minor rule break at work, or ignoring that crucial task that we just couldn't be bothered doing. Number 8. Now, this saying might be delivered to us right after we have done something that is impressively unwise. We could be rather bluntly told to use our head. The phrase comes from that straightforward idea that the head houses the brain, which is that centre of reasoning and decision making. And it became common in English as a way to urge someone to use logical thinking rather than impulsive action. Nowadays, we could directly tell someone to use their head in order to encourage them to think carefully or apply common sense, such as double checking before hitting reply all. Number 7. It's that magical moment when your brain says don't say it and your mouth says too late. It's that time when you have put your foot in your mouth. This phrase seems to have emerged in the mid-20th century, likely evolving from earlier expressions about verbal blunders. The imagery exaggerates embarrassment, suggesting that you've said something so awkward that you might as well have silenced yourself physically, like putting your foot in your mouth. These days, we'll say that someone has put their foot in their mouth by saying something that is inappropriate, cringeworthy, or even embarrassing. Number 6. This is the emotional equivalent of walking it off, but with a slightly more encouraging tone. It is keeping your chin up, that go-to phrase to stay positive during difficult times. The phrase seems to have dated back to at least the early 20th century and is tied to posture and morale. Keeping your chin up was associated with confidence and resilience, especially in military and sporting contexts. We'll still use the term keep your chin up to support someone and encourage them to be positive during tough times. We might even use the term keep your chin up to console someone who has been rejected. Number 5. Because bottling things up seems to work great until we realise it was a very bad choice. In such times, we could be encouraged to get something off our chest, or reveal or share something that has been bothering us. The expression comes from the idea that emotional burdens feel physically heavy, particularly in the chest area where our heart is. Speaking openly was seen as a way to relieve that pressure, almost like removing that weight. These days, we continue to get things off our chest by confessing something, or sharing something that's been bothering us for some time, just like finally addressing that issue with a colleague. Number 4. Now, if this phrase was literal, we would see a lot less shopaholics around. We're talking about things costing an arm and a leg. Now, one theory links this phrase to portrait painting in early centuries, where the inclusion of a limb or limbs made artworks significantly more expensive. Another suggests it reflects the extreme value placed on body parts, symbolising something very costly, such as losing limbs in warfare. We'll often use the term cost an arm and a leg to emphasise something that is very, very expensive, just like those last-minute flights or inflated concert tickets. Number 3. It's one of the few times that we are happy to lend something without expecting it back. We're talking about lending a hand. The phrase dates back centuries, rooted in the literal act of offering physical help. Hands symbolise labour and cooperation, so it's no surprise this phrase has emerged from farming and manual work communities. Lending a hand has survived down to this day and simply means the literal act of helping someone, whether it be physical or clerical work, such as assisting that colleague with a looming deadline. Number 2. Now, this phrase could be translated as, I trust you, but I am still watching. We could say that we are keeping an eye on them. The phrase comes from that literal act of visually monitoring something to ensure safety or control. It became common as a metaphor for supervision and attentiveness. In today's world, we'll still keep an eye on something, whether we're on security or guard duty, or simply keeping an eye on that simmering pot or project deadline. And finally, number 1. Now this phrase has nothing about temperature, but it's about suddenly wanting to cancel everything and hide under the bed. Put simply, it is having cold feet. The phrase likely originated from the 19th century and possibly came from gambling or battle contexts where cold feet described a loss of nerve. It later became associated with backing out of commitments, especially weddings. People these days still tend to get cold feet, especially if they're feeling nervous and considering a decision, like hesitating on that big life change. So, from butterflies in your stomach to getting cold feet, it turns out that our bodies have been doing a fair bit of talking over the centuries. Which one was your favourite? Did it make your top 10? Did we get it right? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into our day-to-day language.